Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Summit Esports League semifinals. Today we have Possum Posse versus Marmy Fan Club in an anticipated semifinal matchup. We'll see how these teams fit together in the semifinal over the next few hours. I'm Chaotic Obsidian here today with Seikyo, and he'll be doing some casting for you as well.
Hopefully, we can see interesting games. In the semifinals, we can see, I would say, mm, the fan favorites or like the team that everyone believes in them, and the underdogs. We have a story for them. We have a story for both teams. So hopefully, we can see some good action on the games. Beside in the draft, I can see it's already a bit mixed up from meta and corporate picks.
Yeah. One thing I've learned, not always the most meta picks are what you're going for here. Comfort at this level is a really big thing, especially when there's some differentials in the team skill. Like this lobby,
True.
for instance, ranges from bronze up through high diamond. So you're not really going to necessarily be going for pure power picks if those power picks aren't in the hands of someone that you would really want to be the main carry of the team. So we do see the Tristana though. That's a champion I've quite liked playing lately. I would assume maybe 80 carry here, but it is a bit of a flex still. With the mana nerfs way back when she was a mid lane menace,
Yeah.
I think it's more common to see her in bot lane now.
Totally. On the other side, from PP, we can see the Corki Nautilus, a very strong early game champions. Beside the Corki skills really good when he gets the three items, Muramana Stag, Trinity Force, and whatever the third item is. You can count on him on the high DPS damage. I guess you're gonna try to counter on bot lane from the early support pick beside opening mid. That's
Yeah,
what usually happens.
and I like the not only the quirky Nautilus lane in isolation here. I think it's a strong lane, but you've also still got some flexibility in where the quirky can go. Same as Tristana, that was a classic mid lane matchup back a couple patches ago. Until Riot decided, no, we want mages back in the mid lane. So you've got Nautilus synergizing really well with Corki. Like you said, that burst damage that Corki can put down, as long as you've got the lockdown, it guarantees the Q, and then his armor shred is going to get an extra few ticks guaranteed. So it's a really strong bot lane. Pairing the Tristana with the Melio, however, I like I like Tristana well enough with enchanters, but I would have liked to see something like a lockdown or an engage support. Those tend to be the easiest things to find initiations on, and tanks tend to be really high value, especially if your team isn't amazing at team fights. Enchanters can be a little bit more difficult to work around.
I feel that they are trying to go for the very, very late game composition when it comes to Tristana Melee. Melee skills a lot better
Definitely.
than I would say, yeah, skills a lot better than Nautilus. Nautilus is just like having the kit at level 3 is the same at level 18. Besides Tristana, killing when it comes to the range when with the auto attacks, the Qs, etc. You can use it. And you can like. Uh, I would say have a lot stronger late game when it comes to Tristana Milieu. When you have a LeBlanc player, like having LeBlanc in mid, it's basically like a mid like when it's 20-25 minutes, you start losing the huge value outside of when it comes to LeBlanc, unless he can find the really good flank spots.
Yeah, flanks, very important. LeBlanc, you have to hope there's some kind of dive or backline or interruption for her to be able to find really effective means to get into the backline. The Vigar and Nautilus are going to be doing a lot of zone control here, so it could be a tough game for LeBlanc to have too much effectiveness. What I
Mhm.
do want to mention, though, Tristana is an interesting champion in that not only does she scale, in terms of strength through abilities as she gets more levels, but her attack range actually increases as well, up to the
Yeah.
point where I believe she's the longest attack range in the game, around like level 16 or 18. I think that's about when she matches or passes Kate. So combine that with Melio giving a boost of attack range and maybe going a rapid fire cannon, you could see some really huge poke from this Tristana. And just being able to throw enchant or empowered autos every time that item is up could be enough to change the fight ever so slightly, especially once she starts getting that crit damage.
Actually, that's true. When you combine her with Milieu, you might get into, I don't know, around one K range, because basically she
Yeah,
got the rapid fire cannon beside her level, she hits 850 or like 900 with the melee range, with melee extra range. It's gonna be like basically having Senna with I don't know, 300 stacks or more.
yeah,
It's hilarious.
and for reference, Kate, the highest attack range, base attack range is 650. So Tristana being almost 50% higher than that. Imagine how far she'll almost be able to hit you from a screen away if they really lean into it. But the rest of the comps coming together here, so far I'm really favoring Possum Posse. They do have a lot of lockdown. They've got a solid front line. It looks like they might need a bit of a damage jungler here, though. If they go an extra tank jungler and they can find a pick on the Vigar Quirky, their damage is going to be really, really neutered. So if they've got the additional damage threat of something in the jungle here, like
Ooh.
maybe a Zyra jungle or something that could really put down a lot of pressure in a Fury jungle, um, to see another damage threat, you could be looking at a really scary composition for MFC to deal with.
To be honest, before MFC picks Karthus, I thought that their draft is solid. What is Kazakhs doing here? Huh? Guys, please no. Maybe,
Okay.
maybe if they can go with I don't know, Zenzao J4 would have been a lot better. But it is what it
Yeah.
is. Kazakhs makes the job done. But actually, I really want to speak about MFC composition when it comes to Sinjit after he got the last buff. Whenever you have the poison on the minions, you will guarantee the gold, beside if you're gonna last hit it or no. So that's what I actually liked when it comes to Singed. Beside having LeBlanc, they can buy the time and space to get Tristana and Melee fight in whatever they wanna have. But if you're gonna do this, at least you can go for Sejuani jungle. You can look for a tank, a frontliner maybe that can start the team fight. But with no frontliner, I don't think that they're capable of maintaining the draft, like having a really good draft versus PP.
Yeah, and it's something to be said about having the full damage team focus versus the full tank frontline focus. If you're not trying to get into front to backs, I think it's okay to be just looking for picks off on the side to get those number advantages. And if you can take out one of the damage dealers on a side lane, um, you're not really going to be able to change much about the Shen. If he is side laning, he won't be as much of a threat because typically Shen's going to go pretty defensive. His main threat is going to be drawing pressure down to the bot lane and then TPing or alting away from his lane. So if you do attack the globals, that typically is one of the primary ways to deal with them. But they don't have a lot of consistent damage to lock down. I think Shen will be able to get away from most of their threats here. It's potentially challenging to find the angles in these fights. But as you'd mentioned, Singed's Q now basically guarantees the last hit. If there's a tick on and the minion's about to kill it, it goes to Singed instead, which really makes it easier to to close that farming gap because it takes away a main mechanic of farming, which is having to last hit the minion. You don't really have to do it anymore.
It's
So we
broken.
should be able to see some pretty good CS numbers from Singed. Whether he chooses to proxy or not still stands to be revealed, but I guess we'll find out shortly.
As a Singed player, you don't have to proxy versus Shin. It's double. If you wanna do it, you can just do it. But versus Shin, you can just play the lane, and you can win any trades that you need if you play it as smart as you can. That's when it comes to Shin. But if you got taunted, you're over. Like you're dead. You're gonna lose at least half of your HP. When if Kazakhs try to gank, you're dead. You're 100% dead. On the other
Yeah,
hand,
and
MFC, they have three AP damage dealers, three main AP damage dealers. You have LeBlanc, you have Singed, you have Karthus. So actually, I don't like the fact that they have a lot of AP damage. They kinda like in frontliner. Sejuani, as I have mentioned before, maybe I don't know Zenzao, uh, Maokai, maybe. What do you think?
I would have liked to see a frontliner or something with some lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
Team comps are just much harder to navigate when you don't have lockdown and initiation in general, and especially if you are coming in as somebody who may not be considered the favorites. Then you're going to have to worry a little bit more about execution, right? And
Mm-hmm.
giving yourself a comp that's easy to execute is going to be a much safer bet than taking something a lot riskier. So yeah, while I agree the Karthus isn't the best pick in my mind, we'll have to see what sort of strategy they're going for. If Singed is trying to just immediately flip into the backline, or sorry, flip their backline into Karthus, and then Karthus plays kind of a zombie style and then ults after death, there's going to be a huge amount of damage. That's basically guaranteed. So it could work out. I think there's a lot of tanks on the other side that will be able to shrug off a lot of that damage. And Vygar, it's just a really good zoning pick, especially against Singed, who pretty much can't do anything but run at you.
And Singed doesn't have like I don't know cleanse or normally Singed doesn't play with cleanse. Or you have E Morgana or something that can make you get away from Vigor's cage. So that's a bit
Yep.
on the downside for Singed.
Uh, you
On
do
the
have
other
the
hand, also
Melio
you
alt.
have oh yeah, actually you have the melee ult, but on the other hand you have the Nautilus lockdown. You have the Q, the ultimate, and you have Shin taunt. You have a lot of I don't know, a lot of stuff that can stop you from entering the backline.
Yeah. And crucially, the Nautilus knockup part of his ultimate is not going to be cleansed by the Melio. You can't do anything to
Hmm.
reduce the
Hmm.
duration of the knockups. What you can do is cleanse the knockup and then flash or jump. So Tristana should be fine, LeBlanc should be fine, but Singed will not be able to get out of it. So as long as Nautilus is finding good targets here, it should be a fairly straightforward win condition for Possum Posse. But we
To be
are going to
honest,
go into a short break as we wait for the game to
uh-huh.
load in. So we'll see you in around 2.5 minutes or so. Okay, into the game here, and we're going to start straight off with a level 1 bush stack. Makes a lot of sense. Normally, the Nautilus team is going to be looking to invade. What I don't usually do on Nautilus, though, is invade through Tri-Bush and go down here like this. So it is going to be a 5-point start versus the bush stack as we get into game number 1, MFC versus Possum Posse, and Minnie's about to spawn.
MFC versus PP. Actually, till now, I like the start coming out from MFC. They respect the Nautilus invade. They try to follow stack on both sides. Basically, if you're playing Nautilus, you're gonna try to walk through the lane or get a small advantage. And currently, if Nautilus didn't get the second push, they're gonna lose the lane. How would I say it? I don't know. The lane priority, basically.
Yeah.
If Nautilus gets the second push, he can try to deny Melio like the double range versus melee range advantage on bot lane.
Yeah, and it's going to be. I think that it comes down mostly to Nautilus's positioning early on here. Like he has to position in a way that he can still get the push and contest the wave. For Quirky to be able to help him hit that level 2 early, but he also doesn't want to take too much poke from you either. So as we're watching the top lane trade here, it's actually pretty low health bars starting out from Sig.
Uh, totally understandable, but actually you can see now bot lane.
Level 2 comes in.
Small trade. Very trying. Tristana very low HP, tries to flash out. Auto attacks coming out from Melio, very low HP. Another jump
Dead.
from Tristana. First blood on the bot lane. Ew.
Yeah, and in
Bad
probably
start.
the biggest show of reservation I've ever seen from a Tristana, decides to rocket jump back behind the wave instead of going for the Nautilus to poke him out of lane. So content to just take their kill and do the second wave push here, the third wave push here, and then crash it and probably take a reset to use their gold.
I actually, the thing that I didn't like that Nautilus had to try to contest the push. Speaking of the devil, he tried to cancel the recall, which is really good when it comes to tempo. You got the lane advantage, and you're gonna make them stick into bot lane. And currently, you got Karthus on the lane, Karthus, and that's really good for you.
Oh, mid lane.
Lasso to attack. Wait,
Oh.
no way. I didn't expect it. Like I thought like Veigar is gonna, I don't know, some way survive it. It wasn't obvious, but the last auto attack coming out from LeBlanc secures the kill on mid. 2-0 at the early levels.
Yeah, and crucially, LeBlanc didn't even have to flash for that kill, whereas Vigard did flash and still went down. So this lane has become very difficult for Vigard to contest or really get any kind of priority, which means we should also be able to see Karthus starting his invades on the second clear here, as Kha'Zix, a force to be reckoned with in the jungle. However, Karthus, with the clear speed that they have, can easily match that. And now, with Blanc being able to roam, you can easily find a 2v1 in your jungle over pretty much every camp you're trying to take.
Yeah, actually, when you mentioned this, I can see that PP having a really deep wards in the bot side jungle. You have the information. Whenever Karthus tries to go bot lane, you're gonna get the information. Beside, currently on the bot lane, whenever Nautilus misses the hook, you're gonna see the full try or like the full all-in coming out from Tristana. On the top lane, 1v1, very low HP, Singed, the is ready, the flash out and the last auto attack. Singed didn't have the enough mana to use it this side. He still got the ghost. He could have popped it.
Yeah, and that was a huge auto coming in from Shen at the end there. I don't think that they were expecting it, but we're going to have a gank coming in, try to equalize the kill count.
Grasp, plus auto attack, and Shin falls off. Mid lane, actually we can see that
lane.
Dragon is up. Exactly.
Yeah, Kha'Zix's not in position for the Dragon, though, and their bot lane is still technically behind in tempo, although they haven't spent their gold yet. So Tristana is going to have a BF sword on her first back, assuming she's going toward one of the crit items you would normally go on the scaling crit item. I forget the name of it, but we'll see
That got
what item
like
she's deciding.
two
Yep.
arrows. Yeah, the two arrows is one. Coming
Yes.
out from Tristan. Yeah, Yuntul
Yes.
Wildaris, thank you for the assist. We both like forgot the name of the item.
Yeah,
Happens,
you know,
happens.
I wish I had an excuse, but I'm also an 80 carry player. I just don't read the ability or the item name. LeBlanc showing her prowess here in the mid lane. Got that early kill, got the priority. Hasn't had too much of a purchase yet in items, but it still beats out Vigar, who's on only a Ruby Crystal. A nice dash before that procs. And
Can
a
try, the
chain's gonna
chains are
hit.
on. He got the Q and lost to attack, maybe. Oh, he's gonna try to bracket. The ultimate is still on cooldown. We can see the fight on bot lane.
But
The ultimate coming out from Kathos at very low HP. And he survives. Zoning the clone. And Kha'Zix
yeah,
got the Dark Stack. Dark Seal. No, not Dark Seal. You know what I mean. He got this Dark Harvest stack from LeBlanc.
yeah, Dark Harvest stack. You know, you'll take that. Vigar gets pushed out of lane. Um, not as much of a denial as you would have gotten from Death there. Obviously, getting another kill on Karthus would have been the ideal situation, but Vigar being pushed out of lane and having to come back and crucially walk back with no TP, he's going to lose that full wave. So LeBlanc is going to continue to widen this gap that's forming in the mid lane. Uh, Early game so far going incredibly well for MFC. Huge farm leads across most of the lanes here, and including that kill. It did go on to Melio, unfortunately. However, Tristana with the item advantage here. I would have expected a little bit more aggression, although Nautilus is a really hard champion to fight against. They can just lock you down, and Corki can burst you straight away as the Grubs go down for MFC. A very clean early game so far.
You tried to get Milieu for the late game. You don't want to have a block lane in the bot side. Basically, if you went for the Leon and Nautilus matchup, it's clear like most of Hyrule players knows how to compete it or like how to play it. Whenever Nautilus tries to hook, he gotta dodge it, but currently we can see the trade coming out from bot side, the ultimate coming out from the Nautilus, and their first blood coming to PP at George. In 2 seconds, the hook lands, and Corki finally gets a kill in bot side.
Yeah, I think unfortunately just a little bit delayed on that timing there. If Tristana would have gone in before the ults came down, they would have had a much better chance. She had to level up. Melio was still a ways away from 6. So going in there right as Nautilus hits the ult is really going to start to sign your death certificate there, so to speak. Tristana jumps too far forward past Melio. Corki Valkyrie's back, of course, and then Nautilus brings the lockdown and brings the pain. As now this bot lane is looking completely different as to what it was a few minutes ago.
Nautilus actually, yeah, I was just like mentioning the matchup and that Nautilus into Milieu, when it comes to laning phase, it favors Nautilus, but when it comes to late game, it goes for Milieu way hard. When it scales with Tristana stuff, like giving her the edge in the late game. But in early game,
Yeah.
whenever Nautilus gets the second push or like tries to engage on you, you definitely lose the trade when it comes to 2v2.
Yeah, and as good as Melio is for the late game, they do only have one auto attacker. As we're gonna see a fight.
Yeah, we can see the dredge line lands 2v1 on the back line. Tristana doesn't got the ultimate. She's very low HP. Flashes out the Drake mid-life. We can see LeBlanc coming out from the mid lane. Very low HP. Kha'Zix, he got the ignite. Got the ward on the last auto attack, doesn't hit. Dredge line landing from Nautilus. Flash in. 3 members. Tristana's back into the equation. 1v1 into Corki. Corki tries to survive. On the other hand, we can see a trade. 1-on-1 kill. And the smite coming out from Kha'Zix, but he lost his HP. That was way back in 2 seasons ago. On the other hand, on bot lane, we can see Tristana loses her life. A 3-for-3 coming out from this fight. No Drake taken.
Yeah, old habits dying hard. Even though you know it's not going to help, you still smite the objective to do anything that you can because sometimes the spaghetti code can come in to save you. However, it doesn't happen this time. Jungle Pet doesn't heal him up at all. And without the dragon being taken there, we're probably going to see pretty much a reset and go straight back at it. The tempo with second grubs coming up, Karthus may just be looking toward the top side. I wonder how many times I'm going to get Kha'Zix and Karthus mixed up in this game.
Actually, when you get 6 8 drops into your advantage, it's really good when you have Tristana and actually only Tristana, maybe LeBlanc, but the
Yeah, I mean,
main the main
with the
damage dealer
changes,
is Tristana.
with the changes to AP now affecting your tower damage, which I mean that's been on for years at this point, but
Yeah.
it is still going to boost the damage that you're doing. I believe it still adds the bonus true damage as it normally would for auto attacks.
Mhm.
So you really can start to burst towers. In fact, we always see Vigar by the end of the game being able to three-shot a tower with autos alone. Have a double block.
Yeah, it's over. Actually, that's what I don't like when it comes to LeBlanc versus Veigar. You lose the stacks, like you give the stacks to Veigar, you give him the rule of the game. Currently, Karathos, it's over for him. He got taunted from the Shin, he got isolated. Kha'Zix just takes the kill and goes away. On the other hand, Sinj didn't even try to contest or move up. You lost a life, you lost 2 void grabs.
Looking at his positioning, I would expect Kha'Zix is just going to run straight there once Void Grubs are gone. You got to be careful here, Sin. You have Flash, but you don't have the Ghost, and Kha'Zix is coming.
He got the ultimate, actually, he got the damage to V1. Comes to top lane, pops the ultimate up, the Q's come out from the Kha'Zix, and yeah, no actual threat on Singed. Whenever Kha'Zix tries to enter Singed pit, Singed can actually win the 2v1 unless if Shin got the ultimate or Singed like tries to flip him under the turret. Exactly. He got the turret damage, he got the advantage. Maybe when it comes to the Conqueror stacks, he can try to force a little bit more when it comes to trading. But yeah, X-Ray survives.
So in the mid lane here, we also saw a little bit of a trade mechanic that I think really helps LeBlanc in this matchup. If she actually W's forward, oh, we're gonna get back to that in
Singed.
a second.
Oh, he tried, he
So,
tried, he
so
tried.
much damage, but
Really
tanks will
good
be
from
tanks
X-Ray.
at the end of the
Mhm.
day. So when LeBlanc W's forward, she's going to have basically a respawn point that's outside of Vigar cage. So Vigar has to play this in a way such that his cage will either be between the difference and force LeBlanc to have to go forward through the cage, or if she takes her W back, he gets stunned immediately. Or if he keeps doing what he's doing, LeBlanc's always just going to be able to get that damage down, pop that W back, and basically have a free lane. Arthas finds another kill here.
Actually, I like Heiko just trying to form, or just forming Shin from top lane. That's what's happening. 2 kills from top lane. He got the first item, besides having 2 stacks in the Dark Seal, and also stacking the Dark Harvest into his side. And Sinj is just doing his job. He's tanking. He's 0-2, but he got the lead when it comes to CS. 40 CS lead only on top lane.
Yeah. And this is obviously a big top lane lead. I'm not sure that it's going to benefit them much, despite considering it's just a Shin to a Shen. And look at how Shen can just trade this back.
Lost auto attack, he got the gold from the turret and he just survives. Ghost timer makes him gives him the way that he can run. On the other hand, you can see the Kha'Zix.
Trouble.
He got the chains, very low HP. Ultimate coming out from the Shen, survives, and the Drift Line coming out from the Nautilus. A first blood and a trade with Karthos. So reply, and yeah, it's just a Nautilus thing. Um, I'm not only your support, just to fight back. 3v2, entering the fight. The Veigar and them is okay. Is that Singed flips up and survives. Actually, beside having the first blood turret on top side, he's almost losing every turret versus Shin. He needs the mask as soon as possible.
Yes, he won the turret trade. He's got a very healthy turret himself up there, and it was enough to capture the feats for blue team. However, feats aren't the most overpowered thing, really. Not incredibly impactful. They're nice to have, but they're more of a like continue to win tactic if you're ahead. Meanwhile, blue team is not ahead. Very moderate gold lead here, just about 1,500 gold. But I think you'll start to see the difference in composition coming in well before you'll see the difference in gold. We're gonna have another kill.
Tristana loses her life, and LeBlanc got flashed on, stunned, and Natulus picks up the kill. Double kill coming out for Jack Quirky. And look at damage coming out from Karthus. It's a lot. It's a lot to handle. Traded 2 for 1, and Hiko looking for the other one. A big shutdown, a very, very big shutdown. He got the exhaust, he got the Corki where he needs, and he doesn't have the ultimate. Maybe one more
He
second,
does.
and yes, the shutdown coming through bot lane.
I know it's kind of a reflex at this point, but you got to save the barrier there. He's not going to get enough damage to come back against a 5-kill Karthus there. A lot of gold going over his way. He's continuing to be a primary carry threat, and you can really see why they would have chosen a damage jungler here versus a tank that could be a little bit less impactful. I don't like their approach to picking these fights, though. I think that their composition wants to be more on a side lane, trying to draw somebody in and then collapse around them and use their burst before blue team or before red team can get a good setup on their crowd control and especially the Vigar zones. So I'd like to see them play the fights a little bit slower, disengage whenever possible. Maybe you can hit a Melio Q to knock back Nautilus, or just stay just out of range of the dredge line. Force Nautilus to use that flash or overcommit a little bit and then get hit by that Karthus wall on the way out. Zap his resistance, burst him down, and maybe you can find some fights that way. But if they just keep going 5v5 against this team, Karthus
Guys,
might
the
be
Rift
able to
Herald.
pick up.
Karthus,
Get the
the
Herald.
Rift, the Eye, please take it. Just please take it. The Eye, the Rift, guys, MFC, come on! No, 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 please no, please no. Someone fix it up. Singed? Anyone? Wake up! Guys, it's over. Okay.
Well, that's not the best result
Come
for a Rift Herald.
on!
It is still some experience and some gold. And maybe they're just confident they can close this out without the damage of the Rift Herald on any of the camps. You know, Karthus is super
Hiko,
strong.
where is the Rift? The cage is
We'll
on.
continue that in a
The
few seconds
ultimate.
and realize that they had a little bit of a goof there. It looks like
Yeah, actually, you know,
we're gonna
the
have
man
another
tried
fight
to
in the
run out.
jungle.
Kha'Zix picks up Hiko, very
Oh,
low
no.
HP, and gets one-shotted from this team. 4 players, ultimate coming up, and them tries to survive. Yeah, got the Shin ultimate, gets the advantage. Tristana jumps up, ultimate coming out from D'Amelio, survives, the dredge line lands, and a trade 2-4-0. Singe tries to enter, he got the ghost top, he got the ultimate. No more Hiko, so no more damage. Basically, Hiko was trying to get, oh, never mind. The last Q, the last auto attack, the last tick, and you're not even the equation anymore. Veigar got super fed. Beside having Road of Ages stacked, he got the large road, he got at least 150 stack on his passive. So yeah, it's looking scary right now.
It's looking scary. Uh,
I can't get
I
over
do
the
think
rift.
I do think that based on how MFC is playing, though, this series could end up being a lot closer if they focus on more of what their draft needs as opposed to just picking comfort. Maybe they're picking comfort in this game. Maybe they were just thinking, you know, we can damage. Once the enemy drafts a comp like Red Team has here, it's hard to really do anything into it. You know, you've got to pick pretty much counter engage. But by the time they had even done anything, Melio was already picked, so you can't slot in something like Janna, which might have been able to save somebody's life. Maybe a
You
Tyrant.
know what I would change on their draft? It's gonna be only one thing, probably. It's gonna be the LeBlanc. I'm gonna take Yoni for mid lane, and they are having a winning draft. Basically, when you look at Singed, he slows the enemies for Karthus. He got like a huge damage dealt in each and every team fight. So if you have an actual AD player or like AD that can engage like Hyun, like use the ultimate and shove them up in one place, you can get the full potential or like the full advantage from Singed and Karthus. That's a way of like having a small change in their draft and having a better outcome. What do you think?
Yeah, you would split your damage type. I think that the mid lane matchup would still be very difficult for Yon. I think that
No, no.
it's
Early on, Yon
suffering here. We're gonna have another kill.
destroys them. Oh, the ultimate came out from the Veigar. But yeah, actually, Yon early game, he literally destroys Veigar. But yeah, you know the cage stops him when it comes to mid to late game. He's just one tapping people, champions, and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree. AD mid laner is pretty nice in this comp. I think that they're gonna have to just reassess more or less. You know, if the team's only playing enchanters, oh, a really nice disengage from Tristana, but it's gonna be enough. No.
No, it's not. The Kazakh's damage, 237. It's not the huge advantage, but he got the support isolated, so he got the pick. He got what he needs. And yes, they move to the Atakan. They're gonna get a lot of the flowers. Maybe they're gonna try to invest it into Corki, Kazakhs to get more advantage. When he gets the third evolve, he got the Q evolved and the E evolved. You can see that from his wings. And yeah, moves out. But no, they get the other one. The game was kinda chaotic. Early game, flash coming out from the Veigar, and Karthus is just locked out.
I'm really
Yes, sir.
surprised to see that this is not the Rose and Otacon. It seemed like there was a lot of fighting going on. I mean, 20 kills over on red team, but maybe it came in a little bit too late. That's going to sync up really nicely with the third dragon here. Karthus is dead, so you should be able to see this. Although Kha'Zix is also dead here. And now it would be what's effectively a 50-50 between non-junglers, but they're going to decide not to even contest this. Maybe they think they're just going to fall off with other junglers.
Smart decision. You don't wanna flip it. You don't have your main source of damage dealer. Heiko is your main damage dealer. Beside the Tristana doesn't get the second item. Tristana needs to take more time in the game. You need to have the Ardent Sensor with your support. You need to have 3 items with Tristana. You need I don't know, maybe not the locket, but you need I don't know Ardent Sensor, the Shurima thing,
I
and yeah, you
think
need
the Kales could be pretty good here as well. Armanilio, because your primary
the
initial problem could be the Vigar cage. You know, if you've got a way to get them through the Vigar cage, then you also have the ult to cleanse. It could neuter a lot of their engage.
you know the thing that gives you heal not Ardent. Ardent gives you the more attack speed, more damage type stuff.
Moonstone?
Moonstone gives you the I don't know. It gives you the cooldown, the healing, but it is what it is. You can see the fight on the top lane. Hiko very low HP. The W coming out from the mid laner. Also, you can see Singed tries to survive, but the last W hits hard,
Tries to
and
find
he
another
got
one.
resurrected. Plus auto attack, and the Nautilus picks up the kill. Maybe he will survive. Yes, the slow's coming up, but the shield makes him left for the another fight. But the damage coming out from the Kirky, it's way too hard to handle.
The way that MFC has been playing around the map here, I do quite like it. They've been cross-mapping a lot. This, to me, is more how their comp is supposed to work, as opposed to just the pure 5v5 head against the wall until something changes. Because you know, the wall that is red team here is not going to break before the paper walls of blue team. It's effectively an origami crane versus the third little piggy's house. It's just not a fair fight. So splitting the
It's
map
not
here,
anymore.
splitting the map here and bringing numbers toward your weak side and then committing to the Tristan Emilio combo. I quite like that. They're also top and bottom. Crucially, they're not trying to like 1-3-1 or manage too many lanes here. As long as they can keep this up, they're going to keep getting some kind of trade. They've managed to keep the gold lead incredibly close, but I can always say that when a gold lead is this close and it still feels impossible to win fights, it is absolutely a team comp difference. And we'll have to see how they navigate. The difference in CC here is we're going to have a good flank, actually.
Teleport from the top laner. Flash of the Nautilus. He got the bomb. He got the damage. Lilia.
Another good flank.
3v1, and he got the slows. He got the first blood. On the other hand, look at Veigar's ultimate just humiliating your jungler. Taking him out of the equation. It's also a 3 versus 3. He got the word. You still got Veigar's cage. Maybe you can lock down 2 or 3 members, but the cage doesn't connect to anyone. And MFC survives to have another fight.
And the tier 1 tower up top still being alive means that they have some amount of safety as Shen could just find a kill on the LeBlanc here. That's so much damage.
He's auto-attacking him to death. On the other hand, we can see the Baron trying to be contested. No vision, no jungler. He got the ultimate, but he is very far away. The first side, no vision allowed. And yes, midlife Baron. No one is contesting, they're just trying to recall, and Kazakhs picks it up for PP. Baron advantage, you got the turrets, but you lost the Baron. Singed, it's over.
Singed
It's
gets
over,
caught
Possum.
here as well. This could be a very dangerous spot. He's going to have to run away, but they've got a lot of gap flows.
It's over. It's over for Singed. He flashed, he tried to survive, he doesn't have the ultimate, he doesn't have the ghost. You're just in the auto range for Corki. No poison on him. You're dead. You're super dead.
100% dead. It wasn't necessary. It's never necessarily guaranteed against a Singed, assuming they have an ult up. They've got crazy move speed, and they will be able to get away from an annoying amount of things. But not quite tanky enough there. Doesn't have the abilities he needs. Doesn't have Ghost. He uses the flash, but of course you having Valkyrie in the gap flows. There's no way to escape there. Rewinding back a little bit to that positioning, that pick on the Nautilus, had Karthus decided to walk forward with the team, we're going to see another initiation, if I can escape.
Tries to engage. The damage coming out from the Tristana is very huge. He got the LDR. The hook. Tristana's over. She got locked down. A really good flank coming out from left flank, but the flash from me. And the jungler Shin picks up the kill. Kazakhs still looking for another fly. He's up, but the lives are still very low. Contesting the dragon, contesting the soul. PP are moving towards the dragon.
Karthus ulti not doing quite enough damage here. He's not level 16 yet. Once he does get that extra level, he'll be a bit more formidable, but he's just hit 15 a few minutes ago. So with the pressure that they're going to have on this Baron buff, it's going to be hard for him to farm his camps in peace. Bot side of his jungle is already gone. I don't think that it was taken away from him. But at this point, even your own team is going to start to counter jungle you a little bit because everybody's going to be fighting for the scraps of XP that they can get without being overextended on a side lane. So Karthus obviously wants to get that level 16. That would be huge for blue team. But I want to see them go back to what was working for them earlier. Set those vision traps, find flanks, collapse on the out-of-position members. And to get back to the earlier point, had Karthus decided to rotate up toward the top side after the Nautilus kill and chase down who they were chasing down in top, I think everything could have gone totally differently, as we're going to see annihilation. You know, if they manage to get that kill and stay alive, they could be the ones repairing here. They could be the ones that get that dragon. It's not soul for them, but it would have been denied from red team. And at this point, I think the gold lead is large
He died
enough.
with just a W. It's just a W coming out from him. Kazakhs tries to dive. Hiko survives a rocket jump and a 1k damage or 1k shutdown for Tristana. The other kill, 2 kills for none. When it comes to MFC, tries to evade. The inhibitor is up. Hook comes down. The flash
Karthus
coming
gonna
out
be a
from the
zombie.
Cork. He survives very low HP, 2v1. But Melio is alone and Hiko got hooked. Double kill, triple kill, and it's over. PP secures the first game. No way, wait, LeBlanc is alive. 1v3. She can tries to just
What's
clear
how
the
good
wave.
goal?
She can try, the hook comes out. Singed is alive.
There
He
is
can
done.
actually clear the
Singe will clear
vision,
this wave.
clear the
They're
damage.
gonna live.
Yeah, the wave is over. He can survive last Oro attack. The hook doesn't miss. And the
And
poison
he
gives him a kill. And a
finding the
shutdown.
kill there, that is a hero play from Singed. If he doesn't cut that wave, they're absolutely able to end. A Corki with Trinity Force is going to shred those towers, but instead they don't even lose a single Nexus tower. And they only lose one inhib. That's not the worst map state, to be honest. The mid inhib is not going to take a Nexus tower on itself. The bot or the top lane inhibs can. So the mid inhib technically being the weaker of the three, I would say. There is an exposed inhib in bot, so the threat of red team taking the base isn't over yet. But that is a fantastic play from Sin.
Actually, it's very scary when it comes to mid lane. Like, yes, Singed did a heroic play, but it's kinda over. Like, can you tell me how much of stacks that does Vigor have of like AP? I guess he passed the 1k like
He's
one
at 302 stacks, and
300 plus stacks. How much
yes, he's
AP?
at just south of 800 AP.
800 AP. So a
Yes.
scary mid laner. He got a really huge amount of HP. He got like 3.5k HP. And yes, they gang in top lane. LeBlanc tries to survive, gets to live for another fight. She tries to, I don't know, like, it doesn't make sense if you're gonna try to defense the top side turret tier 1. You're actually losing, you lost inhibitor in mid. You can try to make another push in mid lane or like remove the pressure. But it is what it is, still pushing the tier 2. She got locked down and she got the damage and shit. It's over. It's over. It's just over. But currently you guys trying to collapse. Singed very low HP and now we can see the fight ultimate from the Nautilus. They're so locked down from the cage. One after one. Loses to HP. The dredge line. The third blood. And the third kill for the AD carry. He needs the shield. He needs the teleport. Coming out from your top laner. The base is open. You got the void drops, you got the damage, and only Singed can tries to stay alive or like make the game stay in their side.
He's going to be able to cut this wave again, and they don't have a huge amount of clear, but with the
Avengers are
second
here.
vision wave coming in, this is going to be game.
Yeah, the Hawk is here, the Singed is over, and the base ends up for PB. First game in the semifinals. And let's see how MFC can convert it to the second game. What's their plan for the second game?
I hope that it is sufficiently different to account for some of these micro decisions that we were seeing. LeBlanc early on, able to get a lead. Tristan Emilio, able to get a kill. Singed, able to get a lead in top. But it just all collapsed almost instantaneously once that first skirmish came in. And that's what you're going to see when you have such a difference of frontline and CC versus trying to be an assassin comp, but also have some late game scaling without a front line and having a damaged jungler. It's very much all over the place for MFC, and if they shore up a couple of those weaknesses in their draft, I think we're going to see a much more competitive series in Game 2 than we saw in Game 1, because it was relatively close for a long time in terms of gold, and it never felt like it.
Mhm. It was close, but as you have mentioned before, as you have said, the coming out from PP is a lot better. You have the Shin Shield, you have Nautilus Engage beside Vegas Cage, which actually had a very huge impact in the team fights. The last team fight, exactly like the Cage, locked down three members of MFC, make them have nowhere to go, and it opened up another way of just ending the game. Having a death trap, like you're trapped in my E, and one W from Veigar, uh, half HP. Everyone lost it.
Yeah, and looking at the order of the picks here, up on the screen, you can see PP decided to pick the Vigar in response to the first three picks from MFC here, and I think it's almost a perfect choice because LeBlanc and Tristana don't have an option to except for go around the cage, which takes away a huge amount of their strength. Almost pretty much both of those champions are going to play in a similar way where they just want to go at you in a straight line and pop right back out. If they can't do that, their strengths are really mitigated by a single pick. And then they managed to find what I think is also a better second round in the draft here, Sinch Karthus versus the Kazakh Shen. Um, Again, just getting them their comp more of what they need. Even after those first three picks, I think they had already pretty much won draft. I don't think there's enough of a jungle top lane choice you can have for MFC. Um, you had counter pick potential on one of your lanes. They decided to hold jungle till the end on PP. You didn't really take counter pick, in my opinion.
Mm.
Um, so I think that there's just some fundamental challenges that they're going to have going into game two. But again, you can adapt to this. And I don't actually know if this is fearless or not.
No, no,
It
no,
is
it's
not
not
fearless.
fearless.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
actually, when it comes to do the draft, like when you can see the pick order right now, MFC I would have totally changed the top and jungle. I would have like something like as we have mentioned before, Yon, but I don't think Yon is an option here. Maybe Kasanti, you would say, the one with public execution name on her ultimate, the yeah Ambessa.
Mbessa?
You have Ambessa, yeah, Ambessa or Kasanti on top lane. Maybe Cho'Gath. I don't know. You have a lot of option for top lane. When it comes to jungle, I will immediately go for either Zinza or Sejuani. Uh, those are the perfect options when it comes to the draft state that we had in the last composition or in the last draft. But it's also let's get back into something that uh, it also comes to, are you like comfortable with the champion or not? Yeah, if you are not, so it won't be a huge plus if you win the
Yeah,
draft and lose the game anyways.
yeah, exactly. If there's going to be a huge difference in execution, you'd rather go with comfort. But I think you should have at least a backup plan of how to straddle that line between both comfort and composition. And if you don't have champions at this point in the season, you know, you're in semifinals. If you don't have the champions that fit together and you don't have a good drafting strategy, what was the regular season spent on? Because you should be working on some of those synergies, and hopefully, as we see these teams getting further into playoffs, and especially toward the finals here, we'll start to see teams that really draft incredibly well and consistently. As we're going to have a switch of the sides here, Possum Posse is now going to be on blue team, and MFC is going to be on the red team. Does this change your draft strategy?
Of course it does. When it comes to pick order, when it comes to how you will actually utilize your champions, your hero, and how would you like pick or play around your game, or at least the draft style. When you go for blue side, or like I would mention MFC or in the red side, you have a lot of options when it comes to drafting. In the first two picks, you can go with and I would say AD carry and jungler, and not AD carry. You can go for a flex pick and a jungler. Then you can have a counter pick in mid, counter pick in top, and a really good counter pick in bot lane. You can have three counters when it comes to drafting.
Yeah, we're going to get into draft in just a second. We're waiting for the teams to ready up. So you've talked a bit on what strategies you would change here. I know that you also used to be a coach. If this is your team and they have, let's say, an unconventional um, champion pool,
Hmm.
what was your primary plan for salvaging a workable draft out of something like a cinch player or someone that really only plays um, maybe side laners.
Funny enough, I'm currently like coaching a team in a league. that we have a singed OTP on top lane. He's like a challenger player. So when you're mentioning something like this, we always get Iban for Singed in the drafts. If not, we always like go for Singed and have a really good damage dealer when it comes to jungle. Like we are having, I would just say I have something like Gwen, beside having an AD mid laner, a hyper carry on ADC, and a support that can show up anytime.
Do you think those tend to go better with enchanter champions in support or with more engage? Like, are you drafting lockdown or are you trying to play disengage and force them to engage into you and try to turn the tides of the
Mm.
battle?
It goes both ways. So we might go for a reset comp to have your reset. Since it gets a reset when he enters the team fight, the the passive. Beside when it comes to Jinx reset or Tristana maybe, that's what the PP would had in mind. Actually, no, PP didn't have Tristana on their side. Oh no, no, they had Tristana on their side. So yeah, that's a reset. I like to reposition Tristana to
MFC
utilize it.
drafted the Tristana.
Yeah, 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 yeah. MF.
Yeah.
Wait. M. Yeah, MFC they had Singed, right? Yeah,
Yes, MFC had
yeah,
Singed, Karthus, LeBlanc, Tristan, Emilio.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So yeah, you go for
two
like
of
a
those
reset
picks, or
with
one of
really
those
good
picks,
team fight. Mm-hmm.
one of those picks we have seen banned out here. They decided Emilio was a problem, despite what I felt was not exactly the best fitting into the composition. The lane in isolation, I think, was fine. Already, I'm liking these first two picks a little bit more, especially if this Tristana ends up being a flex pick into the mid lane, and then you can draft something that has a really good synergy in bot. You can also pick support here and hide your pick, get some of those or get some of those mid lane bans out, and then you are just flex picking the whole time. The Seraphine Ash here, though, a very strong lane. They're going to be able to chase you down forever, and the range on Seraphine Poke is insane. So already, you're going to pretty much have to pick an Enchanter or a Poke. I think the answers you would normally find into this here is something like Karma, maybe, where you can try to match the Poke. But Karma doesn't really go that well with Tristana. I think that Tristana likes to have the follow up champions that she can jump in on top of. And
Mm-hmm.
a missed pick here, and it's going to be a Shen
Shen, all
over
right.
on Possum Posse. So a repeat of some of the champions, one of the champions so far. Does that reveal enough of their strategy in the draft for you to change your game plan completely here on Red Team?
They have like protect the king, but there is no king here. Like you have Shin, you have Seraphine, you have Ash. I know Ash is a really good AD carry, but it's an A mobile champion that you can't count on him with normal game state. Like if the enemy teams goes for the assassins, maybe Akali in mid lane. I don't know Kha'Zix like last game. Oh no, Kha'Zix was with PP. So yeah, they won't have Kha'Zix. But yeah, you gotta have some actual damage dealer that you can count on him. Ash is not the primary focus. It's
Yeah,
just a secondary carry.
you're not going to see
Mm.
the huge burst out of an Ash. What you're going to see is that slow whittling down.
Mm-mm.
She's more of a sculptor and less of a stick of dynamite in a composition. Where if you can give her time to free hit, she will absolutely shred your tanks. If you don't get that time, like if you pick a composition that has a really high pace of engage and damage, then you're really going to have a tough time being effective on Ash. As a occasional Ash player myself, I know that I always love tanks. They're playing into tanks without a gap close. But somebody like
Mm-hmm.
Orin basically immediately throws a wrench in that plan because he can engage from way out of range. He can flash dash and knock you up on terrain or hit you with a pillar. Especially if Sona hits her ultimate first, or if Tristana gets an insect on you while you're not ready. It's going to be really important that Ash positions toward the back of her team, which means I would expect you're gonna have to have at least one more frontliner to come in here for blue team, and then I think you're lacking damage, like you said.
I don't like the Kazakh ban because Kazakh, okay, he was good in the last game, but you can't count on him as a primarily damage dealer, not a damage dealer, a DPS, like someone that auto attacks to death. When you have Seraphine and you have Shin, you should have Yoni. I guess you should ban Yoni, you should ban Kasanti, should ban, as I've said before, the Ambessa, yeah, Ambessa, Kasanti, those type of champions. Gwen, if PP got Gwen, it's a really good pick for them. But yeah, we can see MFC goes for Gwen, and now it's coming up to
But
the Syndra. Huh?
this would be a Gwyn mid or jungle potentially, unless
Jungle,
you've got an
jungle, totally jungle. No way, no way. It's plays mid.
okay.
It's
So
better mid.
you'll also have to have a mid laner with some setup for ganks if you want to have much of an impact early on. Victor here, I don't mind this. Victor alt can become a huge tool in a draft by itself, especially with the setup that they have here. It's going to provide another slow for Ashe to proc her extra damage off of. It's going to provide a lot of lockdown for the arrow to come in and the Seraphine alt. So they're kind of setting up for the wombo combo. I would still expect a jungler that can jump into the backline, maybe a Nocturne or a Zac.
That's a good
Darius,
one.
interesting.
That's a really good one. That's a really good Darius pick here, and a really good Darius angle. Sona's very squishy. Tristana, the same. Gwen, it would be hard to kill her, but you got the resets, you got the damage, and yeah, if you wanna get the free 5 stacks, the free 5 stacks, you're gonna just count on Crystal Arrow, maybe the ultimate from Seraphine, and Shin can help you in the backline with the ultimate.
Now, there is an interaction here I'm not super familiar with. Does the Darius bleed still tick when Gwyn is immune? She's just immune to targeting? I don't believe she's immune to all damage. It's not like
No,
a
no,
Xin
no.
Zhao alt, right?
No, if he queues, I don't get it. Come again. Sorry.
So if Darius has the bleed passive on Gwen and she decides to dash away and use her W, is that going to
No, she still
stop the
gets
damage
bleed.
coming in?
No, no, no.
Okay,
It
then
will
I
make it a
think
bit less, but it won't stop.
yeah, then I think that's going to become a pretty interesting interaction to track. Like how many times it becomes impactful that Darius applies effectively his own ignite onto the Gwen, especially with the healing that she's going to have coming in. And I don't suspect any of these players are going to take ignite to deal with that. So Gwen could become a little bit unchecked. You've got healing from the Sona. You've got healing from Silas himself, which I think Silas is actually a great pick here. There are really impactful ultimates on Possum Posse's side, and I think pretty much any champion he decides to take is going to be able to turn the fight with that ultimate.
Seraphine ultimate is really huge on Silas. You have like Seraphine ultimate with Ornn ultimate, Sona's ultimate, Gwen's damage. The team fight's gonna be really bad for PP. If they landed only Seraphine's ultimate,
Yes. So
that
in
was the
terms
hijack
of
ultimate.
ways that they can find these fights, we're not going to be able to see the Kazakh Shen interaction or like getting into the back line. So the Shen ult is going to have to be used more for peel onto their carries.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we'll see how impactful it becomes when they actually have enough of a front line and crowd control here to really keep some people locked down on MFC. I think this comp is way better than the last game, and I actually probably give the advantage a little bit to MFC here for having champions that I think work fairly well together. Um, it's more like they drafted for preventing what PP can try to do, especially with that Silas pick. So I do like both of these drafts.
Same here. It's totally different than the first game. It's a bit of meta, but actually it makes more sense to me, at least. Uh, for a second, the bans were not clicking anymore in the second phase. The Oriana, the Zoe. When I saw the Syndra hover from PP, my brain started just like to stop working. Like I don't know, like why would you pick a Syndra in this game? It was a bit weird. So, but when it comes to Victor, it makes more sense. It totally makes more sense for me. And MFC actually counted the draft, so both drafts are good. It always comes out to the execution in game.
Yeah. So we are going to take another break here. We're getting into draft with the players. We'll be returning in maybe about 4 minutes. We'll see you all on the other side for game two, MFC versus Possum Posse in the semifinals. one, come all to game 2 of our semifinal match, MFC versus Possum Posse, and we're gonna see another similar start for Possum Posse. Actually, this was MFC's tactic last time, and we're gonna see a 5-man bush stack and an invade possibly coming from the bot side. I like this angle, as long as they're not seen by the tower here, and they're
Oh,
not, so it could be in trouble.
a level 1 banger. No one can see. You can see the vision, the flash, but it doesn't connect. He gets the slow and he gets the first blood to Ash. Nice try, Shin.
It doesn't
Nice
matter.
try. Nice try.
Great use of the vision mechanics there. You actually can't be seen if you hug that wall, and then by the time you get that ward down, if your CC's in range, you're in trouble.
Totally agree. Also in the mid lane, I really would like to highlight that Victor is one of the really good early game champions. Most
Oh,
of people don't know this or
hold on,
like
look
didn't
at
acknowledge
this.
the fact that it is really good for him. But yeah,
When it's gonna get
Hiko
chased
got
out,
caught.
she's dead.
He got only the ghost, and he loses half of his HP and a lot of time when it comes to clearing his camps.
And doesn't get the ward on the blue team either, the blue side either. So this is already tragedy for MFC. Not what you were expecting. You finally got a comp that has a very good potential, and you may have just put yourself on the back burner instantly in the game.
Losing Ghost and Jungler and getting the first blood. Also, actually, X-Ray trades really good with his passive. He waits for the 10 seconds to tries to enter again with his E on top side. So that's a really bonus for him. Like whenever you're gonna trade the shield for advanced Brock, and the bonus damage coming out from his Q. So it makes more sense that he's winning more in the trades and in the team fights.
Yeah. What's also important here, Ash deciding to go for the boots instead of a dagger. You may see some AD carries take a dagger here versus the boots. With Ash, you pretty much always want to take the boots because you're going to slow them, and you're also going to get additional movement speed if you're using approach velocity, which I actually don't know for sure. But Ash is really good at running people down the lane. So I want to see them bounce this wave, wait for that reset. Tristana is always going to have to push into you, as we're going to have just a single kill here. Oh, very low on Silas.
Yes, but actually, right now, PP still trying to contest 3-4-1. 3v1 actually in the bot side, but it is what it is. X-Ray 1v1, very low HP. Orange knocks him up. But overall, it's a top laners matchup. It's not going to be a dive. And in mid lane, Silas is playing with his life. Very low HP. He survives the flash coming out from him. He got the knock-up, he got the healing, and he got the flash. The kill into Victor. It's just insane in mid lane.
That is absurdly well played. And with the delay, Victor, delayed here on the TP with the changes. So he will be slow to get back to this lane, but he's not going to miss much. But crucially, Silas does get that full push into the tower. And we're going to see an invade here. They're using this flash early on. This goes really on.
3v2, Hiko, very low HP. Look at the damage. Darius falls off. And now we can see the rocket jump. After rocket jump, the damage. Also, the Silas is back into the equation. The chase lands on Seraphine. Very low HP. And the trade, the second kill in the bot side river.
Tristana had the reset there, deciding not to greed for the extra kill, although Victor may have been in trouble had she gone forward. Still had the flash, still had the cleanse, and Silas is taking a huge trade here. This is completely different from what we saw in terms of early game aggression. They still got the results of the feats of warfare last time for MFC. However, this is already looking like a very different bot lane because they're not instantly trading back those kills. If Tristana gets a super early lead here, you're going to be able to start seeing her flip the script.
I really like the change in the draft. Makes everything for MFC.
It feels way more playable.
Yeah. They have a lot better team composition, a better team fight, and X-Ray is.
Went on the flank.
He's looking super shaky right now. Level 5, 2v1, taunts him up. Actually, he might go for the 2v1. Low HP, Hiko. He loses his life 1 for 1. Maybe X-Ray is still alive. Trace the proc. Very low HP, and the
Dies
last
to
auto attack coming out
minions!
from the minions. He will survive. No! Last auto attack. He's.
Oh my!
5 hit flash, 5 hit flash, 5 hit flash, 5 hit
Wow.
flash. The
That.
HP coming out from the Doran's ring. Yeah, actually, he survived at the very last 1 HP of his life. Only the Doran's ring give him this advantage.
Yeah, Doran's shield giving health back there
Yeah.
saves. You know, items save lives. They really do. In League of Legends, items are so important. Shen does choose to save the TP here, which is important because his ult is about to come up. Can't get the cancel in mid lane. So we're seeing, obviously, a very different approach here to the early game. Despite Gwen losing her Ghost early on, Ghost is less of a cooldown with Flash, which means it's going to come back up. Obviously, much earlier into the game. A really good timing there. Ends up going down to the Shen, but by the skin of his teeth, Ornn is able to pick up that kill. I don't think that's the most impactful lane. If I'm Gwen, I'm probably putting more priority towards the bot lane or the mid lane, especially as a win condition. However, giving some breathing room to Ornn is never a bad thing. Go.
Between mid lane, the ultimate, and the hijack ultimatum, Hiko enters the equation, and he lets the room for the other man to survive.
And, you know, surveying this could be a sloppy recall spot.
A trade in the top lane. And actually, I really like the game how it's going till now. Both teams are fighting and both teams are looking for the perfect way to get up the lead that they want. Till now, a lot of fights in top side, a lot of HP trading. We might see the Atakan that gives you roses. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I mean, if we don't, they've really changed the trigger a little bit too much because this game has been really aggressive. It's just, I mean, it is under a kill a minute, which is probably the solo queue metric that everybody goes for in this duo. However, still enough action to keep us interested as Shen is going to land another taunt up here. This, I mean, at this point, they're just too tanky to kill each other, right? Shen, right?
Hiko in the equation, 2v1. X-Ray, actually he still got the flash, he might survive, and he got a lot of HP. Snip, snip, here comes the damage, and the ultimate from Hiko to get the kill in top side.
So yeah, it looks like the 1v1 isn't possible. However, 2v1, always a good choice. With at first you don't succeed, bring another person as the arrow comes down to the bot. A good disengage from Tristana, but it's not going to be enough.
Yes, and Darius is still gets the angle, gets the way, and he gets the kill in both sides. 5 and 2, 3, and the kill in mid lane. The stun gives him the ability to survive. The W from Victor. No.
Not enough range on the ult there. Really scary for Sylas, and we're at risk of MFC having an exact repeat of last game. Get the first 3 kills, and then slowly start to bleed your lead away by letting Darius come in with some sneaky ganks and taking aggressive trades. You know, I think it's quite a frequent mistake that players of certain elos make, where they get an advantage and they try to push it just a little bit too much, and the roams come through. And before you know it, the game can turn around.
Well, no, actually, Sylas, I like the Cosmic Drive coming out from him. Probably when he recalls, he will get it. Gives him more cooldown, movement speed, through the boots also, so that's going to be a huge bonus for him. On the other hand, I like Tristana got the BF sword, got some advantage in items. Otherwise, that we can see Ashe also got the kills more. We got the rocket jump, we got the damage. Maybe the last auto attack. Them survives from Shen's ultimate. No way! At the last tick, he makes him survive.
Yeah, Ashe looking incredibly safe there at the end, managing to come out with still a couple hundred HP left, despite flashing when she was maybe 30. So Tristana getting a little bit baited there, and playing the cleanse versus barrier, you have to be aware of these things. Um, in that your laner is always going to have more effective HP than it looks like, and you're always going to have less effective HP because of that summoner differential. So you may be able to stop the CC, but if you dodge the CC anyway, the cleanse really isn't going to give you much benefit.
That's true. Until now. Actually, I like the fact that you can see a lot of kills in the top lane and a lot of kills.
Oh,
Silas, the hijack ultimated. It was really close. But now we can look. Darius in the equation. 2v1 in the top side. X-Ray, very high HP, and the Silas survives. Snip, snip, coming out into the jungle. X-Ray, and he gets out of the top side. Also, another kill on Ashe on bot lane. MFC
Gwen?
are just getting back into the series. Gwen, the stacks, the Darius, the dunk, and the kill. Come on, Darius was the BF sword. Actually, it was the Yuma's Ghost Blade. Makes everything possible. He still got the reset for the ultimate. Mid lane, he got the hook. He get the Silas.
Gwen getting a little bit over the confident there, maybe. You know, they were strong enough. They're 1-1-5. They have the Nashor's item there. If they face check in division, or oh my gosh, mid lane, Silas
Yes,
picked up a free
sir.
kill. So we're starting to see
Weird?
a
No?
classic tale, a tale as old as time. In fact, laners overstaying after getting an advantage. How many times have you heard that before?
Quite a lot. Quite a lot of those games. But actually, it makes more sense. Like, the players are still trying to enter the competitive scene, trying to get ahead. I don't know, like most of the players, and I have seen the OP, the GGs for players. Uh, they had like a lot of ex-master, ex-diamond players. They are not a very high elo players, but you can see the mix in ranks gives you the I would say that gives you the thing that the fun. I don't know. It's more fun than watching high elo games. Like a lot of fights here and there.
Yes, a lot of
15 kills
energy.
in 10 minutes. Yeah. They're still young.
Tons of
They only,
action. Sometimes you don't have to play perfect League of Legends to play entertaining League of Legends. And in fact, I would say they're almost mutually exclusive. Perfect League of Legends is not fun to watch. Ooh, Ashe Arrow is going to miss here, though. What are we going to see? And can follow up so much
Darius was the
damage.
ghost. 3v2, and now the first blood is over. He gets the hook, but it whips at the last edge of his hook. He survives 6-8 kills. Maybe they might look for the dive. I know they don't have the tools. Pistol arrow is still in cooldown. Actually, the fight coming out from Hika on the backside. Snip, snip. Ultimate is here. He dodged the first one. He uses the second one, and now he doesn't have the enough damage to get the first one. But no, the damage coming up. The trade, the survive. Only Darius is still alive in control, and it's over. Victor is here, but Victor doesn't deal that enough damage that you need. Top lane,
Does Horn get away from here? He actually could turn this if he gets another brittle proc.
He tries to get the kill. Giga Chad Orn.
Very
That's
well
the
played.
only one I have it.
And should be able to get the minion wave into here for the crash. He's going to have to take one more wave, I think. Nope, gets the full crash right off of that. And this is starting to now get out of hand for MFC. They're really starting to get rolling as this is the biggest early game lead we've seen between these two games so far.
I have liked their game. I have liked their playstyle from last game. They were just lacking draft. It's only about draft. If they have a really solid draft like this game, I expect that they can go to the finals.
And to be honest, the primary change seems to be the mid laner. You know, you were talking about what you would have fixed in that last draft being the mid. You've still got the Enchanter Twist on the bot lane. But you know that that's going to scale pretty well. But with the Silas here now, it really does add an extra layer. Very good analysis on your end, as it's functionally a very similar comp to what we saw in Game 1, with the crucial changes that are really enabling them to find these kills and find these roams, despite being, at the time, on even gold. Now that they've got the lead, we're going to see even more of an accelerated pace. And I think that MFC's fight timing is really going to be able to push them over the edge here to start closing out this game faster.
We have to make it for the jungler. For Gwen, the second item. It's gonna make a lot more damage and a huge impact in the team fights. Still trying to go forward with the game. Also, when you have the evolved item for Gwen, it's whole other level in the game. Also, if you look at Silas, he got the Lich Bane completed and the Sorcery Boots. Besides, I thought that he will go for the other build, but it is what it is. Nico looking for the team fight, coming out the ultimate from Shen, and the jump from your Tristana, your Eddie carrier, your assassin maybe. Maybe it's not a Tristana, it's the Kha'Zix, because that was a really Kha'Zix DNA jump. That was no way a Tristana or an Eddie carry.
Yeah, and really well played by the Sylas, actually stealing the Shen ult while the Shen ult itself is on cooldown. So he's the new Shen in town and decides to join the fight and then run immediately back up to top lane. Anyway, the Herald here, we didn't see any grub taken on red team, unfortunately. So MFC will have a slightly weaker tower push than they had last game, but are they going to make up for it?
Oh, actually, they got the L. They got the I just look. Yes, yes.
Finally, pick up the eye. They'll never make that mistake again in this series. I can almost guarantee it. 50% chance.
Maybe next game, you never know. But currently, he can get the bot side. Actually, 1, 2, 3. The Avengers are on bot lane. No way. That won't survive, but good. TP coming out from the Silas. Turns the equation. Got Ash's ultimate, but he got the crystal arrow. And the second slow, the second whip. And donating shutdowns to PP, it's not a really good idea.
I don't like the teleport there. Obviously, I don't think Silas does either, but in situations like that, you have to make a snap decision, right? And if your decision is a little bit off, you're going to look like a fool either way. If it's a little bit too slow, you're going to give up a kill. If it's a little bit too early, then you're probably not going to have a good setup like you should. Now, Shen ult coming down here. This could be a bad fight.
Dragon looking to have the 5 stacks into Darius. Very low HP, gets the ultimate, gets Darius, and double kill! Give me the triple, give me the movement speed. BB are back in business.
This is an example of a fight you do not have to fight. Not every time you see somebody does it mean you have to go forward. And with Silas down, that's a primary form, the primary source of your damage. So not only does Silas TP in, give over a shutdown, but he's dead for the fight, and they decide to try to take a 3v5 in mid jungle over a second dragon, and that levels out the gold. There's no more advantage for MFC, and the team comp difference, it just comes down to who has more gold at the time, to be honest, because they both fight incredibly well. Silas looking for the kill here, misses the chains, and Victor's going to be able to walk away. So
actually, in MFC still got something that the gold funnels in your carries. You have the gold on Silas, you have the gold in Tristana, and you have a gold lead with your jungler, so that might help.
It does help. I don't think it can change some of the decision-making, though. You have to really get together as a team here and say, hey, look, that was a terrible choice for us to go forward. We had 3 squishy champions, and Tristana is not fed enough to 1v5, especially jumping into a Darius with full passive stacks on one target. Like, that's going to be a guaranteed death. Even if you can get the burst, Tristana's going to try to rocket jump out, and Darius is just going to hook you back in. You find slightly better angles, slow the game down a little bit. Instead of picking that fight with Ornn on the side lane, let Ornn push that wave and then wait back in that tri-bush to see what happens. If it doesn't get answered, takes one more wave, and then they start to look towards Dragon. With that fight happening, we're going to see another major damage.
Oh, Darius, what have you done? What have you done now? He tried to get the fight, he tried to look into Victor and Darius. Not a wise decision. Anyways, let's move forward. Damage from Ashe, the immune, and the snap. Ultimate coming out from Hiko. X-ray spotted. The jungler spotted. Also, top laners, yeah, spotting the jungle, spotting the top laner, and also losing your mid turret is really a good advantage into MFC.
Opens up the map a bit. They do have a very low turret themselves, so I'm sure that this is going to be answered very soon. In fact, if everyone takes the recall here, it's probably going to get answered on this wave. So Tristana deciding to stick around and just contest this push a little bit more. I like that choice. You just have to be careful that you don't get Sona ulted or Ashe ulted because they have so much range to follow up, and once you get that ult to connect, you may be dead before Rocket Jump can even come back out.
Let's look at the items. Victor is looking for the second item. Yeah, Victor needs the second one. Also, Darius have a really huge advantage in movement speed. Force of Nature, Yumi's Ghost Blade. Besides having the blue smite, when he enters the push, he gets the extra movement speed. He's gonna utilize it really good in the team fights. Besides having a really completed boot, he can enter like, I don't know, 600 or 700 zone from the movement speed. That would be really huge for him. But also, when you look at Hiko, or if you look at the jungler coming out from MFC, you can count on having two items. Like two items. Snip is just a scary game.
It's scary, but if you're stunned into the follow-up, Snip is not going to be effective enough. And with all these Victor lasers, you know, you've got to dodge the poke, which means at some point Gwen is probably going to have to use her immunity to dodge poke, as opposed to dodging actual useful abilities later on. So again, the way that these two compositions match up is going to come down to execution primarily. And if Gwen uses the ability at the wrong time, Darius is going to be able to close that gap instantly. And he's effectively built a you're going to die build here. He wants to go forward and he wants to kill Sylas or Gwen with this MR stacking. If Tristana gets onto him, it could spell trouble. But it just depends if you can lock him down long enough to get through that health bar.
Yes, sir. Also, the Ashe actually I like the fact that she got 2.5 items. If she got a really good build in team fights, if she got the space, you can expect a lot of high DPS coming out from her. But currently, you can see the death of Tristana. No ideas. 3 members walking through mid. Yeah, actually, look at Darius.
Good numbers here. Blue team has had good vision, but this is actually the one window that they haven't had vision on. So Hawkshot's going to come in. They're going to see Dragon going down. There's nothing they can do to contest this Dragon here, but the TP from behind for Red Team. The fight's
a really huge ultimate coming out from this Seraphine, and now you can see the follow-up. Darius very low HP. Look at the damage coming out from your jungler. I told you, 2 items is very scary. But now she gets stunned, traded, and the trades is still coming off. X-Ray stays alone, 1v3, and the team fight. Yeah, he got the damage, but he looks there. Tristana, rocket jump, one more to attack. X-Ray gets the ultimate, gets the rocket.
There's no tower. They're gonna keep chasing this. Victor could be in trouble here.
Then because he got the burn recall because of his boots, a very smart move. But your mid laner just lost his life. Tries to survive. Or no one is gonna complete. Survives.
No one can follow up.
3 for 1.
They're bringing Shen towards the bot lane. He immediately decides better of it to go contest that mid wave. Ornn is going to be able to get this wave in, but Darius is already here to answer. So if Ornn overstays, he could be in trouble. If he tries to go back in, decides to play it safe, takes the recall. Darius could try to find the interrupt here. They don't have vision on him, but they're looking. He's dead.
Oh! The last second. A 50 second he saves his life.
I mean, he must know Darius's ranges immaculately because he steps just outside of the range, the maximum range of that pole over the wall. Otherwise, Darius had him absolutely dead to rights. There's too much true damage, even for Ornn, to survive something like that. The Otacon contest, though, Sona's way out of position here. It's not going to be in time, but that's going to be a free kill.
You can see Victor tries to contest. 3 members walks out. X-Ray is still in the equation. 4 members. You still have the turret. Hiko got the 5 stacks. not over. It's not here. And the Baron. Actually, we can see the
Straight into
contested the
Baron.
Baron. Bippy are trying to sneak out the Baron. No, no
They
info
don't expect it.
coming out. Hiko might tries to contest. Gets the information. 5 members mid-life. The Baron National. He gets the snip. Snip uses the ultimate on order here in your team fight. Knocks
Oh,
someone.
good.
Ultimate from the Shen. Very low HP, but the first blood. The second one. The full stack. 7 out from the Darius. The third kill. And the Baron for the MFC other team. FPP gets 4 kills, gets the Baron, and gets the advantage.
Huge advantage instantly. And is that going to be enough to win the game? It's a huge swing, right? They are finding a fight. They're trying to contest it. They don't have the numbers. They basically get aced. A delayed ace because Sona respawns. But for all intents and purposes, it's an ace. They've got 6 grubs. They've got the Baron. How quickly can they get the objectives here? Starts with a tier 1. Now they're going to reset. How are they going to assign their lanes, though? What I'd like to see is a 2-lane split. You can put Shen in a side lane like he is. His ultimate is up now. If anyone goes to answer Shen, he can always just TP away or find a different bush. Or not TP away, ultimate away. And they can try to force a fight somewhere else on the map. So we're looking at what this assignment is. Darius deciding to go to his camps to buy a little bit of time. There's no push. There's no sync on the wave. Once those come into play, how quickly...
Actually, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for cutting you off. But
No.
this is like the average diamond players like normal mistakes. You get the Baron, just ignore your camps and walk to mid, walk to bot, like have 2 waves and try to contest the push. You have the Baron, just don't let your minions die. Why are you leaving your minions die in mid lane? Come on.
I do see
Yeah.
this a lot. People try to set up death bushes or try to people try to immediately fight in the jungle, and I don't think that's the right call. You know, you go to a lane, at least keep 1 Baron buff there. You know, you can set up a death bush, but at least have 1 person catching the wave while you do it.
Ooh.
Darius, oh,
Okay,
beautiful
he's on the
ult.
run. No way.
That's
no way.
dead.
Darius gets the ultimate, gets 5 stacks, and Silas is over. Boom! Dunk. Gonna try to trade, get the 3 lanes. Mid is not pushed, but both we can see the stack of 3 members. They're certainly looking to get the dragon. Maybe if you have more, it's better.
If their
Yeah,
wave
I'm
management,
crying. I'm just crying. I'm just crying.
if
right
wave
now.
management for PP comes in a little bit better here, then they're able to go straight into that bot wave and push down
You
the
have
tier 2.
6-point drop. Just utilize it. Get put and get mid turrets.
I agree. They're a little bit slow there. They do get the tier 2 in mid. They're just not focusing on... I think that you should try to siege this tier 2 before you go into the dragon, or at least get vision and then go catch them. They're trying to bait bush again. It's probably going to work here. Gwen's out of position, but they don't see her.
Oh, actually gets the hook coming out into Hiko, very low HP. Own horn into 4 members. Ultimate from the Shen. This is 5. The healing coming out. And the
Beautiful
Shen, wait, look at him. Knocked up for 5 members. The ultimate reset coming out from your support. Ultimate coming out from Tristana's down like Ash. Look at Tristana, look at Ash, look at your super carries. And yes, Victor is trying to get the Zona last Zoro attack in the Zobdi kill. And yes, PP are ruling the game and looking for the second game of this series. And yes, Nico is out, PP is on.
Silas pretty much has to catch this wave, or this game could be ended very quickly. They've got the dragon point, or soul point, whenever they want. A nice dodge on the Ash ult. That would have certainly been the rest of the game. So this is going to be 1-8 hit. How much is this going to hurt, though? They don't have much of a wave, but they've got reinforcements coming in. Tristana's up in 6 seconds, but they're going to kill Silas.
They still have some minions who can try to win the game, but no, Tristana's up. Maybe she can get the support from Zona. 1 second, 6-point drops is a lot, 5 members, and yes, it's over. Base is open, 2 versus 5. The healing coming out from the Zona. Not gonna be enough, and yes, PP, and this is the second game with the score 2-0 for this series.
2-0 in the series, match point. It is a huge advantage. It doesn't mean the series is over, especially without this being fearless. You can keep slamming those power picks. I think you've got to find a champion other than Tristana for the bot lane, though. I think you have to have a priority pick that can really start to carry these games because we're seeing Tristana get strong in the early game, but we're just seeing her
Hmm.
jump into her death basically immediately. Once the fights really become crucial to the state of the game.
You had the early game. You had the advantage with Gwen, with Silas, Ornn. I don't know, Tristana a bit. No, actually, botlane was not going into their side. It was with PP. Gwen kind fucked up in early game. Tried to look for the invade, lost a lot of time, lost a lot of HP. That's when it comes to early game and early ganks. She died like 3 times when she ganked in top side and in bot. Also in her jungle, Darius just ran her over. So that wasn't a perfect start for your jungler. But Silas was just carrying the game by himself when they reached to a point that MFC had a really huge advantage. But PP comes on top like a pick off on mid, a pick off on jungle, and a very, very, very like fast burn. It was the perfect call for them. I really respect the call and respect the fact that they managed to make it.
Yeah. The Baron happened to be, I mean, it seemed to be very serendipitous. It just happened to spawn while they were all surrounded there after they had pushed out the Otacon take. Um, I think it's a little bit of a mistake from MFC more than it's a capitalization from Possum Posse. Because had they decided not to take their Otacon right as the Baron was spawning, then they would have had more health and they would probably have been able to be in a better spot um, to find the fight and then take the Baron. But I think they had already lost the numbers. If I remember correctly, I think Silas had just died in the bot lane, and everything started to go off the rails. You know, it's like MFC is finding really good early games overall. They're getting enough of an advantage, but by the time the mid game rolls around, you see the macro from Possum Posse is just on a different level.
Mm. I actually like the fact that they capitalize having a tempo advantage, PP, knowing that they have the tempo advantage. That shows up a lot about the team and the players itself. I really like it. And when it comes to team fight, it's just about Darius. And actually, I can just say it's only about Darius. It's about Darius, Victor, and Seraphine. Besides having the Ash, having some incredible kiting machine skill or kiting skills.
Mechanics
Um,
is
yeah, kiting skills, mechanics. It was clean. Mm, that's it from my side. That's what I think.
yeah. So we'll be stepping away to a quick break here as we get the team into a draft once they're ready. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to see game 3 coming up on the other side, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Game three, start. We've got
Mm.
MFC versus Possum Posse here. Possum Posse looking at the 2-0 lead. MFC looking at the 0-2 gun barrel. We're going to hope that Possum Posse shoots a couple blanks coming up into this game to bring us to a game four. If not, that's going to be the series as we see the draft bands coming in hot and fast like a Little Caesars pizza.
No more Shin, no more. Actually, that was a good one.
Hey, got to
Yeah.
try to get the sponsorships in there, you know?
Delivery minus
Yes.
15 RR.
So we see the Shen band. Finally, they've had enough, they say. Show us what else you got. They're not going to let Shen through. The
Scorner.
Nautilus, still going to be the band. Skarner picked up first for MCF. Uh,
Alhamdulillah.
I like Skarner enough. I do question if he's a little bit too slow tempo to get them through the early game. So I'd like to see this matched with um, some early game aggression. As we're going to
Wow.
see the Xin Zhao. You've been wanting this since game
Wow.
one.
I like the first pick's corner. He's a really good jungler that he can utilize him in team fights as a frontliner. He can engage, he can walk through walls, he can do whatever you need. And the respawn is Zen. It's really good. I would have preferred Bobby, but Bobby you cannot pick her this early in game. Maybe in R3 or like on the second phase of draft. So you have the Zen. Maybe you can look for the Afflex or AD carry or a mid laner. Not actually, you're not gonna pick an early mid laner like right here, but it should be an AD carry. Yeah, Tristana is up, totally worth it. Maybe you can get here, I don't know, maybe Jinx and um, Jinx and what? Hmm. What do you
How
think?
this is not the Tristana for MCF or MFC.
MFC.
So
Okay.
I think that this could be a chance for the 80 carry on the other side to really show what they can do when they're not on the Tristana. If they have something like Quirky, like we see here,
Hmm.
they'll be able to put down a whole lot of damage. They still have a bit of flexibility from Quirky being able to go into the mid lane, although, again, you see it more in the bot lane nowadays. Uh, I think this is a pretty okay response. Do you like picking your full bot lane here, or do you want to hide something to round two?
Probably you're gonna save your support for the second phase. Getting the Zoe, I would say it's alright to open mid here. I don't prefer Zoe, but maybe it's his comfort pick. Having Zoe and Corki, I I think it's his best, something that he prefers to play. Zoe with the Corki they synergize really well when it comes to popping the balloon or using the explosive damage coming out from the guy on a rocket. I would say.
Yeah.
Thresh. I mean, Thresh is Thresh. Like you can use him anytime, but he's not in the S tier meta currently in the support. I would rather get the Rel, maybe Alice. Actually, no, Alistair. Alistair is way too good here. Having Alistair to knock back Skarner um, will help you in bot lane, but also I would have never picked the support. I would open mid to have the counter pick and like try to utilize or like get the advantage in topside draft.
Yeah, um they'll have counterpick here for Possum Posse. Do you think that the Skarner blind here is enough to justify giving the counter to whichever lane they really want? They could choose. I think that because your mid lane is already showed here, you've already got
Uh-huh.
counterpick on mid. You can hold your pick and counterpick top, and then you should have two hard winning solo lanes. Uh, I hope that the Skarner can do enough to make up for that.
Actually, you should get a counter pick in mid, bot, and top after the way they have drafted. You get the counter pick in mid here, Or you could easily just open top and ban champions that you don't want to play against. I actually like the only reasonable ban here is Poppy from the side of PP. That's all I'm gonna say. Because like you're having like two dashes champion, three if you're gonna mention Thresh, and yes, you just wanna stop them, cancel.
Yeah.
The only champion that cancel them is Poppy, so makes more sense. Currently, you should open. Uh, it will
So
be like weird, but I would say mid, not top.
we see the
Not top.
Seraphine ban, we see a Lulu ban, Morgana ban, and Poppy ban. They've put four bans on support for MFC. They're either trying to pinch his champion pool really aggressively, or it's just a little bit of a questionable draft choice here because I don't think their support has really been a huge deciding factor, and they've just left Melio open anyway, which we saw in game one, pretty likely to be picked here. Uh, I think putting that many bans towards support is a very dangerous choice. I would have liked, like you said, banning some of the top lane picks. I suppose,
Yeah,
in a
let's
way,
see.
I suppose the Poppy is kind of a top lane ban. It's certainly more support in my mind, but you do see it top lane sometimes.
It worked both ways. Melio ends up in the hands of MFC.
Yeah, and I think Melio
Um,
has a lot more power in this particular draft because they don't have as many engage tools. They've got the Ari Charm and the Thresh Hook as their primary ways of engaging.
Ooh, that's a good one. No, no,
I
get
like
get get the Ambessa back. Get the Ambessa
I
back,
like
please, please,
Ambessa.
please,
I can see Aurora as
please.
well. Either way, I would not personally go Singed. It could be
I
a
like
comfort
Singed
pick
here.
though.
No vein. No vein.
Ah,
Go. Yeah. You had Ambessa. You had Singed. I would rather see them here. Preferred having Vayne in top lane. So I
okay, so the positives.
mean,
Vayne and Emilio. Emilio's going to be able to cover a few of the range weaknesses around Vayne. The
okay.
Enchanter with double 80 carry is naturally stronger, but I don't think that I like the Vayne pick here. It's going to have to be a huge Vayne performance to really make this worth it. Again, in the draft here, you've kind of self countered yourself. You've self countered in practically every single lane. So at least having the Vayne, maybe you're trying to like take a blind pick counter, assuming they're just going to pick any generic melee. Uh, a very interesting choice, I would say, and not one that I'm particularly fond of.
Hmm. When you look at the draft overall, it's they have a compatible draft. Having Emilio support with Vayne, Corki like tries to poke with Zoe. You have two poke and you have like a follow up engage after Skarners enter the bet. Enters like I don't know Dragon bet, Baron bet, Atakan, whatever. So that makes sense. On the other hand, PP got a really good catch potential with Cho'Gath, Ari, and Thresh. Also Zenza. I don't know. They have a really good champions to play on catch and side lanes. And yes, after like I don't know, Cho'Gath hits level 11. Vayne is gonna be just like a paper for him. If he's playing AP Cho'Gath, oh, that's gonna hurt Vayne and hurt the entire MFC team players.
Yeah, with the Vayne ult though, I have seen some incredibly sick outplays toward the late game. With the Melio ultimate, it should be able to provide a little bit of safety as well. Again, as long as you're not worried about that knockup from Cho'Gath, then you're at least going to have safety from everything else. If you can dodge the knockup with your Q, then you'll be able to pop off. Like it's going to amplify your damage a lot. What I don't love is that it's kind of a similar story to the other or to the game one draft where it doesn't feel like they have a compatible 5v5 against PP. However, they do have a pretty good way to chase down picks on the side lane. So if they're playing that style from game one, I think we could see some success. If they play like they played in game one, as opposed to how they should have played, I think it could be a very similar story out 5v5'd, make one bad choice around an objective, and the game just is completely unplayable.
Both teams are ready. Maybe we can enter the game in a few minutes, so we'll take a small break and get back to you guys.
Game 3 underway here. The potential final game, and they're taking out all the stops. As we're going to see an early invade, the 5-man push stack.
Heiko is out.
This-
Try to blame top lane. Try to change his way, and now he loses the first blood, loses his life, and it goes to Xin Zhao.
Xin Zhao, not a perfect start here already. And
Yeah, actually, it feels like when you get cocky, like as a jungler or like as a top laner, you don't wanna play jungle anymore. Just like guys, give me top lane. I'm gonna win it from top. Minute one, first blood.
yeah, and minute 1, starting off with a big deficit. When we've seen PP start with the early game like this, they kind of become an unstoppable force, more so than when we've seen MFC take the early aggression. MFC has had the feat of warfare in the first 2 games. So if they don't get the feat of warfare in this game, they're looking good for the reverse sweep, in my opinion.
Reverse sweep or like the game goes on. Let's see how it goes first. MFC still like you have the wave, you have the front line, you have the damage dealers. Maybe Heiko might pull up something through
Oh,
this
this is
game.
going to hurt Cho'Gath.
Smart move from Ray. Oh, that was a lot. The first one, it was smart. Like you're gonna get your wave pushed at you, but the second rate with Heiko was totally off.
Xin Zhao's definitely going to look for this level 3 gank, though. Vayne is quite pushed out. Manages to get a ward just in time. Saves her life with that ward.
Just in time, baby, just in time. Also, you can see this corner moves around faster than Zen because, like, he got the triple advantage. Besides having him tries to contest, the hook doesn't land. And yeah, they're still
They
trying.
are starting on opposite sides of the map, so we won't see Zen able to use his early game skirmishing over that Scuttle Crab on top. I think that's a pretty smart call by Skarner, being able to pass up top to kind of cover Vayne if there's any particular ganks. Early on. Oh, Bubble's going to miss here. Tron puts her in tower range.
1v1.
Oh,
they'll
misses the kill.
take the nice chance. He tried the 1v1. He tried to get the advantage. But yeah, still under the turret, Airy farms up and survives overall. You can see
good
there's
gank
a
timing
trying to
coming in.
move toward mid lane. Flash
No
is available.
wards.
The Shorm is here. Maybe he can tries to eat. W lands. The flash in.
Drowsy.
The advantage. Maybe. What?
Ah. If Ari finds the flash charm there, I think that's just a guaranteed kill. Decides to save the flash, though, because they might need it later. I feel like the follow-up is just a little bit slow there. I suppose Zoe could react flash her itself, and you did get the summoner anyway. But I think that should have been a kill over on.
X-Ray getting the fight. And Choo Choo, the train misses, flashes out. X-Ray survives. And he's just gonna dance, get the wave, get the XP. Level 6, stacks up. Bloop bloop. Gets the DC.
Okay, so the pause coming in here. Obviously, the last couple of times we've had all of these jungler ganks up top, it hasn't been into a win condition. It's been into another tank, right? It's been an Ornn gank into a Shen, or it's been what was our game one? Something into a Shen. This time, singed into a Shen, right? So there hasn't been a
Okay.
top lane win condition. This time, Vayne could feasibly become a top lane win condition. You've got sort of two chances to hedge your bets for the AD carries on either side. I like that they're putting pressure towards top in this game more than I like when they were doing it against the tanks. My
Mm-hmm.
question to you, does it make enough of a difference for Vayne to get one kill here versus the rest of the team comp that you're kind of sacrificing when you pick a Vayne top?
Oh. Uh, if the Vayne player is really good, you can utilize him and you can use him to try to snowball through top lane. But Shogath is the type of champions that he doesn't care about his KDA. He's dying a lot of times. I don't actually know if he didn't die, it would be better, but he will just try to survive, uses his kit with the passive, getting more mana, HP, beside the Doran's shield if he got it, for the extra lifesteal of the extra sustain. And yes, if he got those up, he can just stay in a clear zone.
Yeah, ultimately he's going to have a major piece of true damage no matter what. There's only so much shutting down that you can do against a Cho'Gath, and Vayne top is never that much of a force on the side lanes because you can almost always just bring a couple people or some crowd control. She's much squishier than you would see in like a normal, a bruiser or like a Fiora pick or a Jax pick or something that can really duel. So you definitely see differences in how you have to play when you have a Vayne top versus when you have someone that's maybe a little bit more conventional. This is
Maybe.
by far our slowest game. In the first 5 minutes, only one kill. And I feel like that's a little bit to do with MCF not having their early game aggression across most of the lanes. There's not really an action matchup in mid. Cho'Gath really can't do anything into Vayne, as they're going to actually start with a lane swap here. They're sending up Tristana and Thresh to try to zone this Vayne, and I really like this. If you take away Vayne's power, there's just not much of a chance for her to get back into it, especially if she starts getting behind.
The issue is that you're giving Corki the advantage. Also, the lane swap meta, it's over. And you're gonna get lane swap trigger, and you'll start getting no more gold, nothing.
So after 3 minutes 25 seconds, that mechanic doesn't still trigger. So they're past
Okay,
that window.
that's good. Actually, it pissed me off when I started playing the game. Actually, you get the lane swap trigger when you're playing in mid lane. Like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
My team is just invading in top. Like, I'm just farming. I'm losing XP, losing gold, and the enemy team gets a lot better stats.
Cho'Gath being level 6 here, Corki's only level 4. I think if Cho'Gath manages to play this weak side here, there's an advantage for Corki versus Tristana, where Corki can hold that wave in a freeze and deny XP. Tristana's always going to be pushing on every last hit, so it's better, in my opinion, for the Cho'Gath to be zoned out, as opposed to Vayne just having all of this farm under her tower. Now, if they set up dives, which are a lot harder to execute, but if they set up dives, that could be different. Oh, beautiful hook, and this is going to be the start of something.
3 versus 1, Hiko gets over, and he loses his life. 2 trades. two blades, and the kill into the hands of PP.
And with no teleport, that is going to be a massive loss for Vayne. And it could be already towards the end for the Vayne top before we really even got to see the advantages or the reasons for picking it. You want the melee 1v1.
Yep, Lane, Spirit Rush. And yeah, it ends up well for the mid laner. Zoe survives. And we can see trying to get the kill into your mid laner also with the train hovering from side.
Almost deciding not to cancel there. Throws the ultimate. Should be able to chase this down, I would think. There's not going to be a lot. You have to dodge the hook or the flay. It's going to come in right about now.
Oh, maybe the lantern?
Oh,
Doesn't survive.
not enough. The lantern decided not to come out there. The flay also wasn't there. I don't know if it was a mana issue or a cooldown issue. Maybe they just decided they were dead anyway. If they flare in closer, they're guaranteed to be dead. The tower is not able to do enough. But now you're going to overstay into Zen. But there's a lot of minions here. There's actually a ton of minions. Oh, beautiful brush play. Okay, so Field
really
Warfare
good
picked up.
Yeah.
Field Warfare picked up.
You got 3 kills. You're still looking for the second one. One goes here, one goes here. You're still looking for maybe the first turret or the 3 objectives through your way. 1 key advantage into PP. The episode picked up with Tristana. Beside the Axe of Warfare for the jungler. Also, I really like the boots coming out into Cho'Gath. Maybe it helps him into recalling and getting back into lane faster. Beside, it gives him the tempo advantage. Like you're not gonna lose tempo either way the tempo happens. If you lose the trade, you can just recall and get back into your lane.
And to me, it also signifies that they're probably going to be trying to re-swap here as quickly as possible. Like, keep their tempo up. The problem with bot side swapping at this timer, I mean, the grubs are coming up in 1 minute, so I imagine that red team isn't going to swap back yet. But once the dragon comes up, they're just going to reset. Is Gang coming in mid? Gonna get the flash. Is this going to be enough? In range for the charm, it's going to hit.
No HP, he survives and the hook doesn't land! The flash not with the W ultimate doesn't whip! Uses the flag, he got the flash, but Skarner survives, the storm is up, and BB are 1 step away from getting, and he gets the double.
Ari gets the reset on the ult, manages to get right out of tower, and with no top lane priority, you're just going to lose your whole jungle most of the time. This is going to be second grub spawn as well. The stars are aligning for a Possum Posse sweep, and it's a pretty Possum possibility at this point.
Cho'Gath is also looking for the full AP. Also, the fight in this top lane. Lantern is up, the hook lands, but they cleanse it out all the way.
Them giving Quirky a little bit of a demonstration on when it is appropriate to rocket jump forward. Gets the kill there, and Vayne actually gonna
look at the damage! Cho'Gath lose the outfit! I told you, EP Cho'Gath, you can never expect the damage coming from him. He gets the knockup, he gets the damage, and he gets the kill. 2v2 in the Void Grub, he gets the fourth Void Grub. Also, Quirky reposition, auto attack, and the shutdown coming up to the jungler.
This is nice. They did get the fourth grub already, though, so they're not going to have the full 3-3 to stop the Void spawn. However, any advantage you can get here now as MFC, you are happy to take it. Because the early game went about as disastrous as it could possibly be. And your comp probably has... oh, beautiful dodge. Trash. Your comp doesn't have a great deal of damage to follow up. So...
Okay.
Gonna really commit to this. He just dies!
No matter. Oh, he plays! Trade 1 for 1. Alright. It's totally worth it. Also, the Cho'Gath is in the equation. Top side. Playing a very weird itemization. I don't know. He's going for AP, tank, damage. I don't know. It's a bit weird. What do you think?
And at this point, Vayne has a really difficult time even getting into a wave most of the time. I feel like she's going to start being hunted down by most of this team. Like, if they get vision on her coming to a wave, I think we're going to start seeing a couple members rotate up. And at this point, Cho'Gath can even 1v1 if she falls under tower at the wrong time and gets knocked up with a rupture and then a silence. So when he has the ultimate up, I think Vayne is going to have to be really careful here. And taking this free poke, I kind of like going with the early AP just to enable this to happen. Let's see if this can actually amount to anything. The ultimate comes in. Is Vayne going to have the condemn against the wall?
X-Ray, very low HP, auto attacks. Hiko gets the kill in top side. On the other side, you can see the cross-map play. 4 members trying to dive. The hooks lands, and the Sharp, it's over for your support. Uses the ultimate, uses the healing, the rocket jump, and the rocket damage. The last auto attack, the last reset, and the rocket jump. Another one from them. It's up the kill. Gets the turret, gets more plating. 4 void drops, first blood turret in both side. He's just ruling the game right now.
You feel like you get a little bit of an advantage in the top side, and then Possum Posse puts you in an impossible position. They shut you down on the bottom side, and they make sure that any advantage that you're getting is in a very limited window, and they're going to get more out of it every single time. Their macro has been very consistent here, and the way that they've been playing around together, they've been showing the quirky, the Tristana mechanics that have been missing a little bit in the early game. Let's see how they convert this 3-0 Tristana versus how MFC has been able to convert their early leads. But something tells me Thim is going to start to run away with this game.
2k gold, 3 kills into your AD carry. 2k gold actually advantage with him. It's really huge. When he gets the Infinity Age, it's gonna be over for them. Thresh having some defensive stats, also having the Locket will help you in the team fights. I don't like the road of APs coming out from your mid laner, but now Choo in the mid lane gets pulled back. The Thresh, the tank, the flash doesn't work, but it's over. Tries to damage. You can see that Tristana gets the bubble, gets the damage, and gets the ultimate kicked off. And it's not over for MFC. We might see the game 4.
Not yet. Zoe, if she can start getting these shutdowns like she just got there, then they turn it into an objective. They really can start getting a lot of gold back here. If they get it onto Zoe, at this point, I think she's more of your win condition than the Vayne necessarily. But Vayne will scale, so as long as she keeps her farm up, which is doing a pretty nice job of it, 110 at 14 minutes, pretty decent. Especially compared to the mid lane and the top lane. We've seen fairly consistent farm leads, I would say, for MCF. They've been doing quite well. It's just finding that CS advantage in most of their spots. They haven't been losing through the micro decisions in lane so much as the macro play around the map. So it's never necessarily over. They just have to start making these critical decisions at the right time. And it's not going to be good, but let's start with a hook.
Teleport coming up, and also you can see the W lands. He gets the Mujai stacks. It's over for him. The last charge, he survives. X-Ray is here to defense his life. Baron will go. And you jungle. It's not yours anymore, but look at this now! The W lands out of nowhere. No more stacks in the Mujais, and it's super funny. He was just looking for the Krugs, gets the Zoe. He fight in the mid lane, tries to enter your jungler, your tank, and the support is here. Hiko is trying to survive, and now looks the ultimate comes up. The hook, them, very low HP. The barrier comes up, survives, flashes out. He still got the reset, he still got the rocket jump, and yes, another kill. PP ends up with 3 kills in mid lane into 0.
When it's not your day, it's not your day. Zoe recalling in just the perfectly wrong spot, gets immediately jumped on by Zin. Decides that he's caught a little bit bigger of a fish than that frog he was killing before. And they just go straight for it from amphibian to mid lane. Okay, so
Yes.
they delayed it enough. They got the Herald here, and crucially, they did remember to pick it up. the dragon spotting in 3 seconds. They're going to be able to recall and get out to the map. Where do you start to find your opening? Because I don't think they can fight for the second dragon
Oh,
here. Maybe you can scale to the third.
wait. Why did he just open? It was over. He had the knockup, he got the damage. Actually, there is something. When you play Cho'Gath full AP, it's better if you play the runes that gives you like an extra attack speed for the auto attacks in the demolish rune page. You basically give your enemy 3 auto attacks and you just punish them to death. 3 auto attacks with the W connect or, or the Q connect is just great. I contest over the dragon, charms up, no more force, and yeah. They prefer not to force the fight.
Bubble's gonna hit. It's just gonna a
And
huge
yeah,
hit
Bubble
down.
ultimate for 3 members, and now Corki in the back line. He survives. Corki for low HP, flashes out, and that Tristana is out of the equation. The Storm lands Hiko for low HP, and the play is over. Another reset, another kill into your mid laner, AD carry, and the hooks one after one after one after one. He's just smurfing your team fight.
They get the dream engage from Skarner, but there's no follow-up in range. They can't
No
find
damage.
anything. They get a quick kill onto the Tristana, but then the kiting and the space that they can create on red team just carries them through the rest of that fight. Cho'Gath is a huge wall, and this is going to be a tier 2.
Really? Okay, he needs to check his lessons. Maybe.
Quirky does call him out in that, specifically in all chat. Maybe not a Scion player up in the top lane there.
Maybe. Well, yeah, actually, he still got the charge on the second choice, so not a big deal. It's okay. It's alright. It's alright. It's totally fine. But you can see
And
here, the Vayne is only 128 CS, and on the other side, the 100 CS to Shogun. So both players are like losing a lot of XP, a lot of CS. In mid lane, you can see the Zoe is up with 1.7k gold. That's a good question. Hot play,
no-
free catch, and no space, no way that he tries to survive. It's over. Jungle tries to flash out, and the hook. Actually, I really want to highlight that James hook still now. It's super smooth and soft. You can see him smurfing the last team fight, smurfing this team fight, and helps the team with everything that he does.
Yeah, the positioning of MFC's carries are they don't really have enough range to position outside of the hook range or outside of Thresh. In theory, their champions do, but they're not using that range to their advantage. Vayne obviously is going to just have to be really close. You're supposed to trade that for an increased amount of damage. I think in the current meta, Vayne is a little underpowered compared to some of the other hyper carries. She's certainly not her old 1v9 self. And especially when you've got this comp that you're just going to get constantly counter jungled in. You're going to have follow-up. They're going to get their way before you, and look at what happens.
You can see the ultimate run up in this corner of two members, tries to reposition the Tristana, the hook coming up, play, 2 members, Zinzao in the equation, and very low HP, the Corki maybe survives, no, the last one to attack sticks, and the Vayne is out, 2 kills, maybe the triple, survives, gets the life steal from the item, and James with the 3rd kill in the team fight, only Melio survives. Teleport is not available. 20 seconds till anyone can rapid fire or get back into your life or into the game. PP or marching towards base, trying to end the game 3-0 and going all the ways to the final.
And MFC, they tried to throw everything they had in draft at the wall, and absolutely nothing stick. They put some Teflon on all surfaces before they got into draft there, over on the side of PP. I mean, there's very little chance, but there are some angles you can find. You know, Vayne has been very close to doing this Tristana. There just hasn't been any follow-up. You know, you're lacking a good amount of AoE and burst. You're really hoping that somebody's going to walk into the bubble, and that could be the difference of the fight. if Vayne and Corki coordinate a little bit more, I think they're going to be able to start taking the health bars down really quickly. Between the armor shred
2
and
minutes.
Vayne's true damage, there's some potential there. You just have to see the positioning be better. And again, Skarner cut out in the red team's jungle on his side of the map.
You know, but on the other side, three Hindus are walking towards mid. Plus, spirit push. Maybe. Storm doesn't land. The hook against the tank. You can't commit into your tank. You give Zoe a lot of space to get the advantage that she needs. But now Zoe's off. She got the hook.
Huge kill.
Might see her die. Plus, auto attack. Maybe he got this.
This has to be their fight. This is their only chance in the game.
Good fight. You can see the knock up. 4 members, 5 members in the mid lane. And yeah, X-Ray gets the advantage. Looks up. Hiko, the play is here. The hook is here. Hiko's paralyzed. Can't move. But the Vayne might try
There's
to
so
end
much
up.
damage
No
left.
mana for the hook. He still survives. Question marks on your mid laner's ability, but he still picks up the kill. 3 for 1. Then is not here. And X-Ray is out.
You know it's a terrible sign when the most fed member by number of kills and farm is dying first in the fight and you're still getting destroyed. That you have to be able to kill the Xin Zhao especially because they have so many extra threats. The Tristana, it's nice to get the kill against her, but Xin is probably the primary threat because of how much he's bringing to the fight outside of just damage.
Minute 24. The burn is not here till now. Xin Zhao, 3 items completed. And your mid laner, I don't know, like, just picking random items through the shop. The Andres, Road of Ages, cooldown boots. On the other hand, Tristana still got the 2.5 items like 2 or 3 minutes ago. So maybe she needs to go. The attack complete or like this. Maybe. We can look into Zoe angle.
At this point, I don't think the way that you come back here is contesting the objectives and walking into their vision. I think you have to try to force them to play into you. This is absolutely not. When you're walking into their vision against this team comp, if you don't have the words yourself, it is incredibly lethal. One misstep, and everything is going to kill you.
Just look at the Trump CC. You can get the Chorm, you can get the hook, you can get the flare. It's over, man. Like, a lot of CC chained. And yes, walking towards tier 2 top lane. And it's over for them. It's over for Detroit. 7 towards 2. And advantage in item, advantage in everything. PP are just getting ready for the final. And now they're pulling the trigger to the Baron. Nashor, maybe. No contest, 50-50 is not available. The jungler is not alive. And the Baron Nashor might be the last tick into your team fight, into your game. Another stack into Chogas. And another way of having extra HP for your team.
And Emilio kill.
This rush, you don't. No. It's not.
Manages to miss the hook somehow. I mean, that point and click ability. How does he miss it? So very a very dynamic draft from MFC. If they didn't start the way that you would hope, Vayne getting a very early death, Cho'Gath getting away from that lane as quickly as possible. They happen to lane swap also in time for the first Void Grubs. Possum Posse is just showing how much better they can play out any particular draft they have. Game 2, MFC had a good draft. But let's see, Skarner's in the back line. Is it going to be enough damage?
Tries.
Didn't take it
Picks
low.
up the ultimate. No, Tristana, rocket jump into 3 members, and now the teleport coming out from X-Ray Trace, the double kill, the triple, and baby walks towards the end. No more Vayne, no more Milieu, it's only your mid laner, it's only Zoe. The kid with the 1,000 years will be able to survive. 2 items are here, no life. Maybe a hook, maybe he will try to stay alive, but it's over. Turrets are demolished, base is open, and he's just playing with his food,
Oh,
Mr. Cho'Gath, and he gets the num 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 num, and 3-0 to PP into the finals.
and what you would have expected to be their last ditch effort to pull together the perfect draft uh, ends in disappointment. They find what is, I assume, their fastest loss. I don't have any stats backing that up whatsoever, but it felt like one of their fastest paced losses. Basically, the
Mhm.
Baron spawns, they're on it at 25, and they just run straight through the base. Not a thing you can do about it. And to be honest, they never seemed like they had a fighting chance in this game. From minute one, it was all downhill.
From minute one, we have seen the five players stacking the top side. We have seen the tries and one into another to get the advantage, but it is what it is. You get the win. You get the 3-0, and congratulations, you're going to the finals. Team PP are just waiting to see how it goes.
That's all you can really say. They played a good game. They had some pretty decent drafts. There were some weaknesses that I think that they could have covered, especially around their early game in the first two games. They were giving up a little bit of an advantage, but they just probably knew that they were going to be better in the decision late game. There was a big differential in the vision around the map. When you look at vision scores between the supports, it's a very hard case to make that they could have done anything to sneak up on red team here. And with all those wards, yeah, there's not an angle. If you're looking for picks and they just see you everywhere, it's nothing you can do in the game, unfortunately.
Exactly. And for today, we were witnessing the semi-final for your tournament, and now you had Chaotic Obsidian, and thank you for the cast. See you in the next round, inshallah. Peace out.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Do we fight to hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love? Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only